They came out and for the first few plays, their first play, and then the first couple of plays of the next drive, took it to you guys.
Yeah, they did. First play, a long touchdown run, stopped us 3 and out, came back and started driving right down the field. And our kids were a little bit wide-eyed on it. We've been down here recently in the last few games and down early, and I'm sure a lot of kids going through their mind was like, uh-oh, here we go again. But yet I think they really believe that they belonged as a better team. It just took a little time to show it, but I'm glad our kids hung in there.
You called the timeout there when they were on their second drive making a run, and it seemed like that was the moment, kind of the basketball moment. You called timeout
Right.
to stop the momentum, and that seemed like it really changed course.
Well, and that's something that you don't want to waste your timeouts, but yet that was critical that we took that timeout. And I had old man Miller up in the headset upstairs saying, "Hey, we got timeouts. We might as well use one. Might as well use it. All right, let's take one and regroup." The modifications we made were small. We just collected the kids back together and said, "Hey, remember, this is what we're supposed to be doing. Let's make a tweak here or there," but yet just helped our kids emotionally recover. And after that, we rolled for the rest of the first half.
Yeah, and the rushing attack with Trent and Frankie, they just found their legs, and the offensive line really opened up holes for them.
Yep, proud of the way we played up front. And I was talking to you earlier before we put the camera on, but we had 4 or 5 holding calls on the same kid, Dusty Burkhalter, tonight. I don't think he held once. I think he pancaked his kid that bad 4 or 5 times, and it looked like the kid was squirming to go down and got a holding call. But all across the board for most of the game, we played really excellent up front. Our backs did a nice job of finding seams, and when they found seams, they ran tough. Both Trent and James and Alex, when you got to keep some of the option reads. It's a nice three-person attack there. We know we have some other backs too that we could give the ball to, but yet those kids were the hot ones tonight, so we just rode them.
And defensively, when you guys needed to stop, Dahman was there, and he just started laying people out. And then that third drive that they had, consecutive plays, you had blitz, 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 and they went negative, negative, negative.
Yeah, and we really had some nice blitz packages put together this week. And Joe found himself in the right spot a few times. I really like how hard Joe plays, and we got some big plays out of him, big plays out of Ryan Hughes. But we played aggressively defensively, and it really, once we had the momentum, it really kept putting them back and us forward.
One of the best helps to a rushing offense is a solid passing game, and it seemed like there late in the first half when you guys needed the offense to start passing, Alex was able to find his guys, and they were able to connect and move the ball.
Yeah, and Oregon likes to go between a 43 and a 44 defense based on what you're doing to them. They came out and won. We ran the ball a little bit. They brought an extra guy in. We started throwing the ball and stretching them out. They had to bring that guy back out. And so there's a little chess match that goes on there that a lot of people sitting up in the stands don't see. But I think that our kids did a nice job of making plays when they were called upon. I mean, we had two passes caught by Charlie Kine that were just unbelievable. One caught back and one a quarter yard short from a touchdown at the end of the half. But we made a big emphasis this week of when your number's called, you got to make some plays. And some kids came up with some real big plays today.
There at the end of that half, you mentioned it, Charlie went up for the ball, got it, came up just not even a half a yard short of the end zone. Just what did that do to you guys going into halftime with a 21-6 lead?
It would have been fun to have a 28-6 lead, but our kids went into half feeling good about what they've done. Maybe sometimes that isn't all good because we still scored in the second half, but we felt like we could have put some more points on the board. But at this stage in the game, we know that we can be a good football team, and we played really well for a lot of the game tonight. And it's a win in the column, and that's what we were here for. We cleared our record. We needed to be 1-0 after tonight in order to keep our playoff hopes alive, and the kids did it. I'm real proud of them.
And just the way it all developed, and the guys really clamped down and finished off the game. Just how positive is that to see the guys, the stretch they've had the last 4 weeks, to just really finish a game?
Yeah, that was important, especially stopping them on their last drive, going down the field, and Oregon had a chance to make it a one-score game, onside kick. Who knows what happens, but our kids kind of put them away, it was good for our kids to play a good, solid football game, feel good about what we're doing, and go into next week because Milton is going to be ready to play football, and they have a lot of weapons The record isn't the greatest, but you know, this is the Badger Conference, and there's no slouches, and Milton's got a lot of good football players.
Yeah, they do. And you were mentioning earlier they have a D1 recruit. Just what's that going to be like going against him and just facing up against the Redhawks?
Well, yeah, we knew that this kid's good, and we played against him last year, and we did some things to run away from him, but you know, they'll take him and put him to one side and then put their better kids to the other side. But he's one good football player, and most games aren't won by one good football player. We just play how we were able to play both sides of the ball, and really try to dominate the line of scrimmage, which, you know, this is a week where we feel like we can do that. You know, things are going to go well for us, and the kids have it in them. We got a nice senior class, and I'm looking forward to riding these kids, you know, for 2 more wins and the playoff berth.
You guys needed a big win, and you got it on homecoming when homecoming wins have not been coming very well the last decade. Just what does it mean to get that homecoming win, let alone the win you needed?
Well, you know, I mean, you can see the kids in the stands rallying behind their guys, and we had a homecoming pep rally today, and our homecoming king is a soccer player, and he stood up and said, hey, let's everybody get out and support the football team tonight and get them a win for homecoming. You know, and that's cool. I love working in Monroe because we got a lot of nice kids that support each other. You know, James Rakowski was a soccer player last year, and you know, he comes back out for football, and as he's leaving after doing his interviews, there's a whole bunch of soccer players, cross-country players, and football players all congratulating him. That's neat. You know, that's what puts your smile on your face as a coach and as a person watching that from afar. And I'm sure we'll have kids, you know, watching when our cross-country team's running conference and sectionals that we host here in Monroe. And if our, you know, soccer team goes into the playoffs and gets a chance to host, I'm sure our kids will be there. So, you know, I'm proud of the way our kids handled that, and you know, I'm proud that we were able to get some excitement to the homecoming week.
And you know, the crowd was as big as it's been here in several years. Just what's it like to have that kind of support when there's been times where you could see almost every seat left over in the stands?
Yep, and that's you know, there's always people that are going to be here backing the kids, whether, you know, win or lose. You know, one of our kids today up on our board, you know, 1-0 is our quote this week, our motto. Somebody wrote TC up on the board, and just to remember Monsignor Campion and how, you know, he would be here supporting you no matter what. And, you know, I reflected back to a game in my first year as a head coach where we go down to Milton after a win, and they beat us 61-0. And you know, they weren't that much better than us, and it just poured the whole game. And we look up in the stands, and there's about 7 people in the stands, and one of them's Monsignor Campion, just sitting there, just getting rained on, not giving up on the boys and being there for them. You know, so it's neat to see the extra people that come out when, you know, it's homecoming or if we have some success or whatever. But, you know, we appreciate everybody that comes and supports these kids because it means a lot to them.
All right. Anything else?
Oh, it sounds good, Adam.